All right. Well, hey, we are welcoming you to a very special bonus audio edition. Sit down, shut up, mark out, where we talk about one very specific topic for about 10 or 15 minutes. And Joshi, you brought up a very interesting thing that you've been hearing from some people online. I have been delightfully removed from online wrestling discussion, except on Threads. So I hadn't heard this. So why don't you go ahead?
So I saw some people comment about MJF's heel turn. So they were basically saying that they felt really excited when he came back as a babyface, and they felt like he was the biggest babyface in the promotion, and that unfortunately that run didn't last long enough. He turned heel pretty quickly, and they just wanted to see more of MJF as a top babyface and felt like reverting him back to a heel was just the safe way to do things. And I thought it would just be an interesting discussion, since people's opinions vary on that topic. Because on the one hand, yes, MJF coming back as a babyface was really great, especially because he was different. He wasn't the same babyface we got accustomed to last year. This time, he still had that edge to him. He wasn't doing the kangaroo kick. He was a lot more serious. So it was interesting to see this other babyface version of him. But yes, it didn't last that long. A lot of us didn't expect him to turn heel so quickly. So, I mean, I do understand why they turned him heel. Since he's going to face Osprey at All In, makes sense that you'd want one of them to be the heel, and Osprey being the heel wouldn't have made any sense right now.
No.
Right?
No.
So
and not at Wembley.
And not at Wembley, obviously. We know he's winning that belt back at All In. It makes total sense. And Osprey MJF is the match you want to see at All In, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think turning him heel was necessarily a bad thing. However, I do think that listening to his promos, he could maybe be a little bit more lighthearted when it comes to those promos. Like, he doesn't have to be so insulting. You know, like, this is what he was doing when he wasn't heel. And like, yeah, it worked really well. But I do understand some fans saying, oh, it's MJF acting like he did, over a year ago, where he's just super insulting and making, saying some pretty raunchy things that maybe some fans don't want to hear anymore. So I do understand that argument, because it is true. I love MJF. He's one of my favorites, but at times I'm just watching him and thinking, did he really have to say that? So it would be nice to cool off a bit on that. Like, I understand him being insulting and vulgar, but maybe certain things shouldn't be said. How do you feel about the whole thing?
I've always felt that way about Max. I think that Max, wants to take being a heel to the utmost degree, and he's crossed some lines that I think don't need to be crossed. I think his character is misogynistic. I'm not saying he in real life is, but that doesn't actually need to be a part of it. Like, it really doesn't. You don't need to call people skanks. I don't think those jokes should be encouraged for any heel. Samoa Joe was a heel. He wasn't saying shit like that. He didn't need to. But, getting away from that to what we're experiencing of MJF right now, I have to totally disagree. I think that MJF was really going to get in a tricky spot with Osprey and Swerve, being somewhere between those two. He's either going to overshadow them or he's going to be overshadowed by them. And he needed to be a heel in order for it to make sense. I was trying to see the benefits of him being maybe like a tweener, which even now I still think he could end up being more of at the end of the day after this feud with Osprey. But, I think he's, the way he beat up Danny Garcia was pretty fucking heelish, like super mega heel. I would like to see more of that brutal heel.
Yes.
Than the misogynistic, your sports team sucks heel. I think we're getting a combination of those two things right now. I would like to just discourage misogyny in general. I don't think we should be so comfortable making that part of anybody's character. That said, I think that Max is better off as a heel. Ospreay, what's the biggest match Will Ospreay can have? If MJF was your biggest face, now he's your biggest heel.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest match Will Ospreay can have? Now, if they did that as two baby faces facing each other at Wembley, history has shown us something. A babyface match does not generate the same level of passion or enthusiasm as a babyface versus heel with deep personal issues does. Okay? Max and Will now have deep personal issues. They have defined characters. That's a much more captivating match, in my opinion, than if Max was also a babyface. Even if he was a babyface that was kind of acting dickish, you know? Like Swerve is doing right now with Danielson. That's the other problem, is that the other like kind of co-main event,
right?
You know, there's like a quadruple main event for this show, which is like Britt and CEO, Tony and Mariah, Danielson and Swerve, and Ospreay and MJF. I mean, those are 4 massive marquee matches. Any one of them could headline a pay-per-view. Okay, but in this particular instance, the other match you have, Swerve and Danielson, no one's a defined heel. And so you can't have both your big matches that way.
No, you can't.
So personally, I think MJF was really done as a babyface, and he was done as a babyface before he even stopped being a babyface. People were cheering when Joe won in Long Island. Okay? That's not a good sign.
No.
That's a sign that the crowd is fatigued. It's partly due to the kind of babyface MJF was trying to be. And, you know, more power to him. Like, he just trying, you know, to be a hero. And I think that was like hard hero. And I don't think he should try to be, he's not the kind of guy who should be doing that. But ultimately, I think it was the right call. Not criticizing anyone who disagrees with me. And certainly it remains to be seen. I personally see MJF as kind of like Ric Flair used to be. He would have brief times as a babyface, but he was the heel you love to hate. And that's where he was at his best, was the heel you love to hate. And every once in a while, he'd get pushed into this babyface role, and then he'd do something shitty and turn heel again. You know, Ric Flair had a bunch of heel turns over his career. And I think MJF probably will too.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joshi?
I agree with you. I think it was the right call. You can't have two babyface versus babyface matches on the biggest show of the year. It doesn't make any sense. And we just got that kind of match at Forbidden Door with Swerve and Ospreay. Although like the lines were a little bit blurred because Ospreay was acting heelish at times, so it wouldn't have made sense. It makes the rivalry a lot more interesting. And plus, the way that MJF won the international title, well, American title, him winning the way he did as a heel makes a lot more sense. Him winning it as a babyface wouldn't have had the same kind of effect, I think. So it was the right call, and I think he could turn babyface or tweener down the line, you know. But for now, that's the right position for him. You know, and as I said, Ospreay going to All In and being a heel, can't do that, you know?
I think also the talent of Max that he has demonstrated, whether I liked him as a babyface or not, and I didn't really, what he has demonstrated is he can do both, which I didn't, even though I didn't care for the act itself, like I could see that he was doing a good job. And what's valuable about him is that he stays over. That's all he needs to worry about as a babyface, as a heel. Because if he's over, he can be either. And the fans respect him. The fans want to boo him or cheer him. What matters is that he gets a big reaction either way. And I think the fans have had to adjust to him being a heel. And maybe that's what people are seeing and they think it's a mistake.
Maybe.
But I think that's some Monday morning quarterback shit. I think, honestly, MJF, if they stay the course with this guy, MJF's going to have a great heel run. He's going to end up feuding with Daniel Garcia, and I think he's going to make Daniel Garcia a big star.
Me too. And another reason, right? This is the perfect way to elevate Daniel Garcia. MJF could only do that as a heel.
Yeah, because on the heel side of things, if you look at the roster on the main event side, you have Jay White, who isn't being treated like a main event guy, really. You have Adam Cole, who fell out and has been out with injury. Who knows how he's going to come back now?
Right.
He might not even be a heel when he comes back, because he could say, look, I was right about Max this whole time. Christian Cage. Okay, so you have Christian Cage, who's probably never going to win the world title.
Right.
So Christian Cage is like the ultimate gatekeeper heel. He is the guy that you wrestle to get to the main event, but he's not the main event. And so there's very, very little. Kenny Omega is not going to be a heel when he comes back.
No.
So other than that, you have Okada, and Okada's still establishing himself. And he's kind of like MJF. The crowd loves him, but he's a heel.
Yeah.
So that's, what choice did they have? The only other guy that I could see them really turning heel and keeping him at this like really top level is Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
And it would take something big for Moxley to stay a heel. So, at the end of the day, it's a good thing. If you're good at what you do, the crowd wants to cheer you. And so I get why people think Max should be a babyface, why they think it might have been bad business to turn him heel. But ultimately, if you look at the heel side, it's actually a lot more bare than people realize,
Oh, they made the right decision.
Well, Joshi, this has been a little bit of bonus audio for you boners out there. But we're going to take off. But we will be back in just a few days, my deadlies. Talk to you very soon. I'm Blade Daly.
I'm Joshi G.
Pro wrestling for a few more days till our next episode.